Bang, bang, chicken gang. What a day of football. Holy smokes. Are y'all ready to share some thoughts, some topics, some opinions? Get up in here because we've got plenty of them. Alrighty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We were trying to catch you right at halftime of the Texas and Texas A&M game. We are in the midst of hate week. We saw the chaos, the pandemonium. Would you call it chaos or would you just call it dang good football? Because to me, I think it's been dang good football. Yes, the SEC's beating up on themselves, but lo and behold, the Big Ten can do the same thing. So I've got a couple of friends here with me this evening. I have Brian, a Clemson fan of Tiger Stripes Media. I've got Rowdy Rooster of Southern Fried Sports, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to go round table. We are going to do game day reaction here. First of all, Brian, how are you this evening? And then Rowdy, you can follow him right up. Say hello to the fans. Everybody, don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. We want to know what you guys are saying. If you comment, I will share your thoughts. We will talk about them. So, Brian, how are you this evening? Rowdy, you can follow him right up after he's done talking.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I just want to say what a great game for the South Carolina Gamecocks. We predicted it. JD, you picked Clemson, and I picked South Carolina win. But your big team won, so congratulations to South Carolina and Shane Beamer in the game there. But it's been a chaos week. I mean, started yesterday with Georgia Tech almost beating Georgia.
8 overtimes. Rowdy, did you catch that last night?
I mean, unreal. And then you got all these crazy things that are going on Saturday night. I mean, we're not even through it's only 9 o'clock, and it's going to be crazy even worse.
It very well could be. Rowdy, go ahead. You talk now, sir. How you feeling? What you thinking so far about today and the 8 overtimes, man?
Hey, put some gravy on it. I'm happy. It's been a good night, especially for the Gamecocks. It's been like he said, it's been a wild day, and even yesterday, yeah, I definitely went back and watched the Georgia Tech game, and I think Tech should have won that game. Honestly, King is remarkable. He's
and they let him off the hook.
Yeah, but you had to know it's coming. I mean, like you said, JD. We're beating up on ourselves. The SEC is just different. And if anybody says otherwise, they're crazy, honestly.
Right. And we'll start off right there with the Big Ten. Everybody was thinking that they're going to get most of these teams in. All of a sudden today, what I said was basically impossible, literally last night with Brian and I. Here we go. Michigan upsets Ohio State. And then, of course, we had the whole flag planting and the scuffle. We've seen a lot of scuffles, and we've seen a lot of people trying to place flags. North Carolina State and North Carolina did it. What do you guys make of? I mean, even we saw today, Eamon Worry and DQ Smith, they went and ran down the hill and touched the rock. I mean, to me, that's more respectful than stabbing a flag in the middle of somebody's field. So, I mean, I don't know. Here, Rowdy, let's start with you. Rowdy. What do you think about some of the scuffles, the fighting, the Ohio State-Michigan game today, them losing?
Yeah.
I mean, what's up there?
The fighting is uncalled for. That's just bad sportsmanship. But I will say this, that if you win the game against your rival, you have all the opportunity in the world to do whatever you want to their logo, in my opinion. There's nothing – I don't see anything wrong with planting flags. I don't see anything wrong with maybe touching the rock or whatever you want to say. As long as you're not damaging property, then that's taking a little too far. But, hey, it's called a rivalry for a reason, and that's why you have bragging rights all year long. You wait all year long to get back at the team that may have beat you. So why not rub it in a little bit right there at the end of it?
Right. Well, and I played the reverse psychology role. I said that there was going to be a quarterback. I actually said it was going to be Cade. Me and Brian, like I said, we talked last night. I said that Cade was going to break our heart on a late touchdown run and put them up. We were going to be up 28-24. They were going to need a touchdown. And so, listen, I might have been wrong, but I want to take a little bit of credit for being right. The Gamecocks needed a touchdown. They were down 4, and Lenore Sellers scored that touchdown. And like I said, we'll get into that one here in a little bit. But
Yeah.
the whole planting the flag thing and all that stuff, it's wild. But Ohio State did go down to Michigan today. Brian, college football implications. Do you think Ohio State's going to fall far enough? And then lead right into Miami, Syracuse.
I don't think that Ohio State will drop out of the top 10, but I do believe they stay somewhere in the mid-range right there, probably 7, 6, somewhere around there, because I've been looking at the standings. You got Penn State, who's now going to play Oregon. I mean, what's going to happen if Oregon beats Penn State? You got all these scenarios of it's going to be crazy, and it's going to be – and I even tell you this right now. As a Clemson fan and y'all are Gamecock fans, could you pull for some of these teams? Could you pull for Clemson now? If they go,
Yes.
I mean, can you pull for Clemson to get in there?
Right.
Well,
yes.
We'll say, Rowdy's saying yes. Listen to this. That's one thing I was going to bring up. The Syracuse upset Miami. And so now all of a sudden, Clemson, they had the door closed on them today, but now all of a sudden they get to use the back door or the side window. It's a family show, people. Eyes up here. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, Clemson might can back themselves into the playoffs, which is huge. And then Fran Brown, the coach of Syracuse, he's on record. If they lose, when he takes a shower, he says he doesn't use soap after they lose because winners deserve soap. And they won today.
It's wild.
So congratulations
wild.
to Fran Brown for using soap. And he even said, Dabo Swinney, there you go. I got you into the ACC championship game. It's wild what might happen with the college football playoff.
Listen, coming strictly from a Gamecocks perspective, I'm 1,000% pulling for Clemson to get into the ACC championship. The reason why is simple. Because if Texas A&M wins tonight, that means South Carolina would have beat them, the SEC champion, most likely, maybe, and then we have a chance to say, hey, we beat Clemson. If they win the ACC championship, we won that. So we've got a chance to say we beat the SEC and the ACC champion. I mean, why would you not want to say that?
Right. That's valid. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like A&M's going to get the job done. Down 14.
No, it ain't looking too good right now.
No, let's see here. We got Mark Livingston, though. He chimed in. Let's see. He said he agrees with Rowdy. You don't want the other team to not disrespect you and then win the game, right? Talking about the rivalry stuff we were talking about there. And, dude, it's just been wild. Like, the 8 overtimes last night, and I called it chaos, y'all. Like, I don't know where to go from here. We got Tennessee and Vandy. We thought Vandy might get them up. What was it, 17-0? The Gamecocks needed that, I think. Or we needed the Iron Bowl. We needed Auburn to get Vandy.
Look, all we can do is we've done what we needed to do. We won out. All we can do is just wait and see what happens. I mean, really, it's out of our hands now. I mean, if you really strictly want to look at the 12 best teams in college football as of right now, you cannot say that South Carolina is not one of them. There's no way of saying that they're not. The stats do not lie. I mean, but I feel like they passed eye test too.
Right on. Yeah, Brian, go ahead. What you had to say there, bud?
Oh, yeah, I agree with Rowdy. You're right. South Carolina does deserve to get in to the top 10. But, I mean, with all this craziness, it's going to be crazy this week and next week. I mean, I'd hate to be one of those things of going, all right, who's in and who's out? Because you never know about these games. So
It is absolutely ridiculous. And so, yeah, we've basically covered it all so far. We've talked about the scuffles and the fights and the rivalries. How about let's talk about the Palmetto Bowl? Brian, I know you told me earlier, you called me. You said you had something that you wanted to get off of your chest. You have the floor, Brian. What did you have to say?
All right. I'm just going to break it down in easy. This has made me mad today. You remember that a fourth down and where they were on the 10-yard line somewhere around there? You got to kick the points. It's like the radio's guy said. You've got to kick the field goal instead of going for the fourth down conversion. So that's just one of my things. And you just made mistakes all day long. You had the receivers wide open. Carolina couldn't stop the pass all day long. And it's just one of those things where, you left receivers wide open and on the slants all day long, even on the third down conversion right there at the end. If the freshman of Clemson, if he'd have got that ball, and like Todd Ellis said, if he was wide open, he'd have been gone. He would have been wide open, and you couldn't do that. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, and even in South Carolina, that game right there at the end where South Carolina had that touchdown, I thought it was a touchdown at first at that last second, but he just fumbled the ball right there at the end. And you can't throw it when you're running the ball 50 million times. You just can't. Sellers cannot throw the ball at the 10-yard line and then hopefully, oh my God, it's intercepted. That's
right. Well, hey, and I will say this about that one trick play that Clemson ran. I even texted my dad before they reviewed it, and I was like, that's a fumble. None of the Clemson players had full control of that ball. So Cade, he stumbled. He flipped it back to Rafa. He never had full possession of that ball, and he shoveled it. And then the Gamecocks recovered it, and I was like, oh, that's Gamecock football. And then speaking of turnovers, though, here, I'll give you guys two stats, and then I'll go to Rowdy, and then we can flip it back to Brian. So I'll give you guys two stats, though. Today, Clemson scored 0 points off of turnovers. And the Gamecocks have outscored opponents 133-58 in the fourth quarter. And guess what? Today, it was 10-0 in the fourth quarter. That's what made the difference in the game. And I don't know how they did it. I was feeling weary. I said it was going to be a nerve-wracking game. So, Rowdy, what did you think about that play? What about your takes on this game today?
Whew, that was definitely a wild ride. First off, I got to give a lot of credit to Clemson's offensive line and their game plan. I mean,
ball out
I don't
of the
even believe
hands.
we gave up a sack. And
yeah, ball out of the hands. Cade he literally, it was like 2 seconds, bam, gone. We never had a shot pass rush wise. Yeah,
Garrett Riley definitely dialed up a lot of quick pass plays, and they executed. Now some of that is on South Carolina's defense, and they didn't play as much press man coverage as I would like them to play. They did play soft because once they started getting beat over the top in the first half, they were scared they were going to get beat. Mm-hmm. That's just how that goes. And
Clemson went away from that too, though. That's one thing I was going to mention.
They did.
So they went away from it. I'm glad they did. I mean, we even defended it well. I thought for sure we were going to catch a few PI flags there. But, yeah, to your point, I mean, and that was one thing I was going to mention since you mentioned it. And, continue on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a lot from the game. What I got from it was that there's just no quit. I mean, and either team, honestly, I think Dabo should have kicked a field goal at the end. I'm glad he didn't.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we kicked that one we did.
Yeah. I mean, that's Shane Beamer would have normally gone for it. Something told him not to, which I'm glad he didn't. But I can't get over how every touchdown was scored by a running quarterback. I mean, that was it. That was the only point. So I've never seen a game like that.
I bet you that was a nice parlay.
Oh, would it be?
And Sellers scored like touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, no less. I bet.
How about the bingo? What about the bingo? You know, the bingo parlor, like that, how they play the bingo and stuff. I wonder how that went.
Oh, yeah, right.
The bingo.
Oh, yeah. Because I think we all expected a little bit higher score. I mean, the over-under was 49.5. And it was 31. I don't think anybody project. And that's one thing I wanted to mention, too. And, Rowdy, I'll get your thoughts. And then, Brian, you can jump in, too. But, Rowdy, over those first 8 games, man, we had 25 sacks.
Yep.
Over the last 4 games, 3. Because we had 3 the last 3 games, and I'm pretty sure we had 0 today. So we've had 3 sacks the last 4 games. Have teams just figured it out that they need to get the ball out of their hands? If we do make it into the playoffs, can we get it turned back up?
I believe we can. Like you said, I mean, have teams kind of figured it out? I would say yes. I believe that there's a lot of tape out there on Kennard and Stewart and what they like to do, what whether they like the bull rush or they like to push pull, whether they like to swim, spin, dip, whatever. There's a lot of tape on them, so it's easy to calculate what they might do. I can't say that. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't get a sack and we didn't get as many pressures on Cade as we should have. But then again, I mean, Clemson's offensive line is not that bad, really. I thought they were worse than they were going in. They're actually pretty decent offensive line. Yeah. I gotta give them some credit on that.
Right, absolutely.
Well, you do know who's coaching the offensive line. It's that guy from Georgia last 2 years. So that's the reason. That's the reason.
Former head coach.
Yeah. So I mean, you got him as you got Luke. That's coaching the offensive line.
Yeah, Matt Luke. Yep.
Yeah, Matt Luke is coaching the offensive line now.
Hey, Sean Elliott, dude. I wanted to mention Sean Elliott.
Love Sean Elliott.
When we lost Limbo, we lost Beamer's kind of right-hand man there a little bit.
Yeah.
That other coach with head coaching experience, and we got it back with Elliott. And you can see they got a good
more physicality.
Yeah, and you can see it on the offensive line. I mean, granted, now I would have loved to have seen us getting the ball out of Sellers' hands like they were with Klubnik, but it didn't bite us in the butt at the end of the day.
Well, I want to say one thing real quick, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I was worried, honestly, the entire game until right after Lenore Sellers threw that interception as they were going in to possibly score.
Mm-hmm.
And that next possession, the first run that Lenore Sellers ran, you could tell like a switch had flipped in his head, and he was just lights out from then on. You can see he's such a reserved and laid back person. You don't really see him get emotional even on the sidelines. And you finally saw some emotion, some drive, and you could visibly see it. That's what was so crazy. He's like, I'm putting the team on my back, and we're gonna take care of business. But it takes more than one person. But he definitely was the ringleader today.
Right. Well, and we even saw Brian. I'll give it right to you, Brian Dabo Sweeney. After the game, he sung the praises of Lenore Sellers. He said, "Man, give the guy credit." And I even told my wife this when I saw a few of the plays he made, the escapability he had. Dude is like a freaking magician back then.
Yeah.
And he's been able to keep his eyes downfield and make those passes. But today it was more just about running. And so, Brian, how'd you feel about Lenore's? If you got any other Clemson?
I think he's going to be, and I'll give him this. If he keeps on doing what he's doing at Carolina, then you could win the SEC championship and even go. He could actually win the Heisman, but he's got to quit throwing interceptions. That is his main deal, and he's got to quit running a lot more, and he's got to pass more. I mean, he's got to fulfill those stats like everybody else. But today, I mean, he's been doing that all year. Just run the ball, just run it, and he's got to get more options into his game plan. But I mean, these freshmen's quarterbacks are unreal now. I mean, it is unreal how many freshmen are out there. I mean, they're getting better.
Yeah.
Hey, hats off to Clemson's defensive backs, though, because normally when Lenore Sellers scrambles like that or gets out of a big possible sack, he's usually hitting somebody downfield, and he didn't today. He didn't, not for any huge chunk plays like normally. So they stayed home and they done their job. I mean, the defensive backs look good for Clemson. He
had more rushing yards than passing yards, I'm pretty sure. Or it was 166 and 164.
Yeah.
I mean, he accounted though for 2 touchdowns, 320 yards, 30 yards. I think that would be 166 and 164. So,
170. It says right here in the Lower Sellers, 178. 178.
Oh, really?
His average was 10.4. That's
Okay.
coming from the stats. So
Right.
yeah, he
Well,
gained.
I think I might have saw his stats before the end of the game. Right. Yeah, I didn't see the final ones, but yep, right there at it. Golly, flat out magician though, y'all. And so like we mentioned though, Clemson, they might have backdoored their way into the college football playoff if they can somehow beat SMU. Of course, we were talking about Gamecocks, Clemson. Let's see here.
Well, I got a thing for you, for both of you, Rowdy.
Okay.
Clemson right now, I just looked it up a while ago. Clemson is the favorite to win over SMU by 2.5, the favorite, and the over and under is 57.5. Also, Gas Malzahn is going to be the new offensive coordinator for Florida State. They just announced it.
Yeah, resigned from his head coaching position. Dude,
Yes.
I know what I was about to do, y'all. Sorry, my bad. Hey, I forgot. We read comments here on the show. That's what I was about to do.
That's a solid pickup. That's a solid pickup for Florida State.
Absolutely.
You know what that is, don't you? That's the head coach in waiting. That's what that is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's Mike Norvell saying, clearly 2 and 10 is not going to work around here.
He better wake his butt up.
Yeah, they're playing
exactly.
Florida. And hey, here's one. I got you guys one question real quick before I get Mark. Or here, let me get Mark's comments and then I got you guys a question.
Uh-huh.
All right, so Mark, he says if it's based off the best teams, SE should be in, but I think it's about logos on the helmet, referring to our question earlier. I'm a little back on comments. My bad, y'all. We were having a good conversation.
Hey, I kind of agree with that comment because usually they like giving like the blue bloods like Ohio State. They like giving them a lot more credit than they deserve.
Yeah,
let's be honest about that one.
And that's why I hate preseason polls. Because
even Oregon, like I don't consider them a blue blood, but a lot of people do. And just because it has an O on their helmet.
Oregon is the best team in the country because they're all like nobody ever watches them play. I mean, I know they're good. I mean, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
I think Oregon's good, but
they remind me of Ole Miss.
Yeah, this whole Big Ten, they helped themselves out with scheduling. The only team in the SEC that got helped out with scheduling was Texas. They didn't play any of the middle, like literally all of they didn't play South Carolina. They didn't play Ole Miss. They didn't play Tennessee. All of those like 5-3 teams or whatever, Texas didn't play them. Meanwhile, the Big Ten literally just put like their 3 best schools against the bottom 6 of the Big Ten or the Big or whatever the freak you want to, however many teams they got now. I don't know why they're still the Big 10 if they got 16 teams. They'll
be exposed soon. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
But they're going to get 4 teams in most likely, or at least 3.
I'm just saying Oregon's going to get exposed is what I'm saying.
I hope they do. I mean, obviously we saw Ohio State get exposed today. Penn State, I don't think they're that good. I would take the Gamecocks or Clemson right now over Penn State, Notre Dame, any of those guys. And then like Brian just mentioned, Clemson right now is favored over SMU. So Clemson still could backdoor their way into the college football playoff even after losing today. Mark, he said he didn't go for it on 4th down because they got the false start penalty to make it 4th and 9.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They did.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
I think there was one other time, too, though, that he didn't go for it, maybe.
I thought it was down there to where the Gamecock stopped them at the 11-yard line at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, right. That was one. Yeah, we were referring to, and then there was the late one later on in the game.
Yeah,
there was one where they were about midfield and it was 4th and 3, and they decided to punt also.
Yeah.
But here's my thing: I understand you're trying to go for the win. Like I understand Dabo wanted to go for it, take a shot at the end zone. I get that. But here's the thing. If you've got, what was it 16 seconds left or something, like 18 seconds left or something like that, if you're going to take a shot at the end zone, why are you throwing it underneath route? You wouldn't even throwing it to the end zone.
Throw it to the end
I'm
zone.
glad you did, but take a shot at the end zone if that's what you're really trying to do, and just kick a field goal and maybe go to overtime. But I don't know.
Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
He's the coach.
Right. Well, and that dude, I'm telling you, when I saw that interception, and I know it was equally as opposite for Clemson fans. And again, hey, much respect. That's why I tell you guys all the time, I'm here to unite the fans. I'm a gentleman. I respect Clemson. I respect Dabo. Obviously, Shane Beamer respects Dabo and his wife. They have a good relationship. We don't have to be all that, F you, F this, F that, whatever. Like, just, it's okay to be respectful and have a healthy competition. And that's what I feel like the Gamecocks and the Tigers have.
We call that winning and losing with class back when I used to play.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, some people can take it way too far. Like I said, the fights, there's no point in that crap. I mean, you just make yourself look stupid and potentially get thrown out of the next game that you're about to play. It's stupid.
Right.
You're making it about you instead of making it about the team. Handle your business on the gridiron. Who wins, who loses, it is what it is. Move on. I mean, that's all you can do.
Right.
Hey, Rowdy. And JD, how about this one from last year? You remember when Clemson actually won in South Carolina? They went on the cockadoodle bus, and then now they did the touch. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's like you said a while ago. I just remember the time that Clemson and South Carolina did have a fight, and they both suspended both schools for going into the thing. So, going back to that, do they need to suspend those two teams for at least a game or so? Because they suspended Clemson for not going to the thing. I think that's what they said years ago. You remember the fight that they had years ago?
Oh, yeah, 2004.
I think they should. I think they should. They had a fight before the game, during warm-ups, and after the game. Yeah. So there's got to be some accountability for your actions. I mean, now you're not considered. To me, if you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever, and you're 18 years old, you're 19 years old, grow up. You might not be 21, but it's a business decision at this point.
Right. Hey, and I 100% agree. Listen, hold people accountable by all means. I wish that they could scrap the whole word commitment. I've got my dirty C words here on Southern Fried Sports. Commitment, culture, camaraderie, competition. If you're scared of competition, you'll pack up your football and run like Juice Wells did to Ole Miss. I mean, if you're scared of competition, you'll pack up your football like Kyle McCord did and go to Syracuse, or like Caleb Williams did when he went to USC. I mean, there's got to be something. Like, just, I need for people to eliminate those words from their vocabulary. Be committed, be respectful, have good culture, have good chemistry, and Shane Beamer has managed to build all those things. As a matter of fact, that was one thing I was going to mention to you guys earlier. Somebody tried to tweet and say, this is the classic case of homegrown versus transfer portal. And I said, no. You want to know what? South Carolina has more players from South Carolina than Clemson does. So don't try to make this homegrown versus transfer portal, because that's not what it was about. It's about
we got more transfers too.
Competition. Oh, that's a fact. I mean, Clemson.
More transfers also. Hey, that's a question I have. I want to ask.
Brian.
I want to ask you, man. Why do you think Dabo won't use the transfer portal? Is it pride because he said he never would, and now he just can't back that up, or what? What do you think that is?
I think, what I've heard and what I've seen, I mean, here's my dilemma with the portal. I think that he was waiting on this money to ship around and stuff. But my theory is that he's had his hands in it, I believe, from listening to what Clemson fans and what the TigerNet, he's had his hands. but I don't think they've got the right guy to go into it. Like if you had a player, let's say a wide receiver, there's a 5-star receiver. It depends on where the money is now. I mean, it depends because you can have a guy on the portal, and he's probably worth $15 million as a contract. I talked to one of my friends the other day, and from a restaurant in Greenville, and he says he's got Randall as one of his guys. For NIL deal. It all comes down to NIL. Who's got the biggest bucks in the pockets and who can pay. And then I think that's why Dabo hasn't dipped into it. But I don't know if he's going to dip into it until chaos happens.
Well, I mean, I would say chaos is knocking at the front door.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he's being smart about it, saving all that money, and he's going to end up blowing it on a really nice year or two pickups for y'all.
Yeah.
He's going to spend it on that 3-star quarterback commitment from Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, there you go.
You went from getting the number 1 quarterbacks in the country, and all of a sudden the Clemson fan base got excited about flipping a 3-star from Coastal Carolina.
Well, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm not going to say Clemson's crazy down because they're not. They haven't. I mean, yeah, they've lost the past few years a little bit more than they normally have in the past. But I'm going to say it's because Brent Venables is gone.
I agree with you, Rody, on that one, defensively wise.
He was definitely the backbone, in my opinion.
Their defense still looked pretty good today. I mean,
Oh, it's good. It's good, but it's not. I'm telling you now, if we had played a Brent Venables defense, like not with Oklahoma, but I'm saying we played a Brent Venables defense from Clemson.
We did play one.
Hey, Rowdy, JD, I got a theory on this one too. Just like you just talked about, Rowdy. If you had Venables, and I've been saying it for the last 3 years, Clemson cannot stop the run for any other less than that. Also, it goes back to Venables when Clemson did stop Georgia Tech on the option plays. I mean, it all comes down to who it is. You never know. I mean, that's how I think about it because I just don't like Wes Goodwin at all. I mean, I've watched some of the Clemson games, but I've been telling everybody Carolina's going to beat Clemson all year long. I kind of figured that. I mean, I'm a big Clemson fan. Don't get me wrong. But I just had that theory of you got to stop the run, and they haven't stopped the run the whole year. And that's what you lost at just Clemson. That's what it hold down all to it. And if SMU does it, they're going to win.
That's football, man. If you control the line of scrimmage and you can run the football and stop the run, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and SMU, the coach was on the Jim Rome show. I think I mentioned this before. Rhett Lashley, the head coach of SMU, he said the biggest thing they had to do this year was beef up the offensive and defensive line going into the ACC, and they have done just that. Here, I've got a few comments I want to get into. Mark Livingston, he also did say, I'm glad he didn't kick the field goal because I don't think we win that game in overtime. I would tend to agree there. We gave
no, I don't.
Well, one of the things I asked last night, Rowdy, was how comfortable do you feel with Alex Herrera or the Clemson kicker kicking to win the game late in the fourth quarter? And I gave my yardages. I was like, 30 to 40, I'm good. 40 to 45, I'm like 60% skeptical. And then over that, I'm like terrified.
Look, I'm gonna keep it realistic with you. If I was talking to my dad about it, see if he came and watched the game with me. If we went to overtime, I think that we would go to the overtimes where it's just 2-point conversions, and we would end up QB sneaking into the end zone to win.
No,
that's what I was feeling. I mean,
I would have gone. We would have lost. Well,
like, I know you would have, but
first overtime we would have been toast. Like literally, we would have been toast first overtime. I feel like. And then we've got Pensman Sports. Another, hey, he's a great podcaster. He covers all.
How you doing, Pensman?
Hey, Pensman.
Yeah, he covers Penguins, Steelers, college football. He's got
Steel City, baby.
He asked a question though. He asked, where did he ask that go? Where'd he go? Did Oregon win the Big Ten because of Ohio State losing?
No.
There's a championship game but Ohio State was eliminated because they lost, because Penn State or Illinois will now play Oregon, Illinois, or excuse me, Indiana, not Illinois, my bad, Indiana or Penn State will play Oregon. Indiana right now 38-0 over Purdue, so they're good to go. I do not know.
Purdue, so
I think Penn State won, so I don't know how that tiebreaker will shake out there. Does anybody else know?
I don't have a clue at this point. I don't even want to guess.
I mean,
I don't even want to guess. We just need to expand the 2014 playoffs.
Just put 64 teams in and let's just go NFL light.
Hey, man, say what you will, but the NCAA, they got it figured out as far as tournaments are involved, man. They got it figured out.
I mean, or can we not just go 64 teams, 8 teams, 8 conferences, top 64? Somebody.
You could just do. You could just do 3 from the Big Four and be done with it. The top 3 from the Big Four and be done with it.
I tell you what, why don't they do a Game of Thrones thing? Just so one season. So let's say 2026, because they've already got it figured out for next year, I think. So let's say 2026. If you finish in the top 3 of your conference, you get to go into this super conference. And can we just make it from there like relegation and delegation? Because this is too much. I thought this was going to be better. I knew this was going to be a mulligan fest. This is too much for me.
Well, I'll tell you what I wish they would do is I wish that every conference had to play as many conference games as the SEC does.
Well, I mean, you got the Big 12 playing 9. You got the big, however many they got playing 8. And then I think, hey, listen, the SEC, they might be looking to go down to 7.
They need to do something. We're killing each other.
They did not work that scheduling out properly at all. I mean, they gave Texas way too easy a road. I mean, and then South Carolina doesn't play Florida, Georgia, or Tennessee. That's just blasphemy, man.
Yeah, I would have loved to have kept the Tennessee game, and even the Florida game. I could give 2 craps about Georgia. I don't really like them much, but
I don't think anybody likes Georgia now.
I mean,
not after keeping us
there's
up
something about Tennessee fanboys are like the biggest babies when it comes to the SEC.
Yeah,
they win. They win 2 games. And they're heck, we're going to win it all. That's it.
Well, and honestly, Tennessee is probably into the playoffs, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mark Livingston, we were talking about the portal and stuff. He says it was fitting that Demetrius Knight, a portal guy, was the one that got that interception to close the game. I almost thought he dropped it. I thought he dropped it too. I was so unsure if he had caught that ball. I was like, I got to see the replay before I celebrate. And then I went wild when I saw the replay. I was like, it's a catch. We're good.
I'm happy for the man. Any man that's going to sit there and, because he's a man. He's got a kid. He's got a wife. Any man who's going to sit there on the sideline and cry and thank God for his opportunity is okay with me.
Absolutely.
Have it to a good individual.
And then, hey, Mark Livingston, this is my fact checker over here, y'all. He's been keeping me straight all day. Oregon and Penn State are playing in the Big Ten championship game. He corrected me on the other one earlier. I forgot to read that one, I think. We were talking about the Gamecock-Clemson fight. The NCAA didn't suspend them. Lou Holtz took them out of the bowl game that year. And then let's see what else we got. We got Mark Livingston, who says, go Philadelphia Eagles. As long as you don't say Cowboys, we are good. We got my other man, JB, in the house. JB, thank you for being here. Go Gamecocks. You won't be able to say that very long, though. Your daughter will be at Clemson soon. You've already been to more Clemson games than Gamecock games this year. Were you there today to witness that miraculous win? I got to have a nice steak dinner because of it. Let's see here. Pensman Sports. SEC would have fits if they went that way. You're right. The SEC, ESPN, Big Ten, they're kind of driving everything. Let's see what else we got. JB, I know one thing that's been proven this year is that with the transfer portal has brought parity to college football. Absolutely.
Sports. All sports.
I mentioned that earlier. Is it chaos or is it just competitive football? I think it's just competitive football.
Yeah. It's all sports, man. Baseball, and basketball, really. I mean, if you're like me and I watch everything that has to do with Carolina. So, I mean, you can see the transfer differences, especially in baseball. It's glaring in baseball.
Right. Well, and then we've got a new head coach this year. I'm so anxious to see the baseball season with pulmonary. I don't know. I almost had a heart attack.
We'll my hopes are kind of low. I don't want to get too riding high because he is a great coach, but his philosophy is a lot different than Kingston's was. He's more of I want an all around player. Kingston was give me a lot of power. But we still got Monty Lee, and I really like Monty Lee. I thought Monty Lee was going to get that job before Maneri did, and if Maneri leaves, Monty Lee will have that position.
Right, most likely. And then, Brian, let me get you this one here. Pensman Sports. Did you guys see the Michigan-Ohio State fight after the game? We talked about it earlier, Brian. Let's get your closing thoughts in. Clemson, Carolina, the fight, and then we're going to get ready to shut it down, fellas. Great show so far.
Yeah. My take. Uh-oh. Is my mic still on?
Yeah, you're good. You're clear.
I don't know if I turned it off or not. No, my thoughts was this is a great game all through the whole entire game. I felt nervous. I know y'all were too, but still, congratulations on Carolina winning that game and Sellers too. I mean, you get the game ball. I hope he got the game ball. I hope he did. But it's been a crazy weekend, and it's a joy to be just rivals of a different team. And I wish everybody could treat this like it was because a lot of fights are going on probably now as Carolina and Clemson just ended. I think there's fights out in the backwoods somewhere of this name calling stuff and just jumping all over the ships.
What you mean you ain't got my $100? Give me my money. What you mean? Nah, we're gonna go back here and you're gonna take this butt whooping because we bet $100 on the Clemson game.
Yeah, I'll go get it from Dabo's portal. I'll go give it all that money. I'll go get all that money that they just got. What? That's gonna get. I'll just go get that $1 million. I'll go in their bank account. I'll call Dabo. Hang on, let me get his number here, and I'll call Dabo real quick.
Hey man, you owe me $100 because I bet on y'all to win the game, and you did.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is. I mean, the fighting stuff is nonsense. That's what I try to do, though, here on Southern Fried Sports, gentlemen. Listen, we got a Clemson fan. We got a Gamecock fan. I can take off my garnet glasses. I can put on orange ones. I've got a niece and a nephew and a cousin down at Clemson. So, I mean, it's all respect. There ain't no need to hate nobody about it. Just the beauty is in the banter. I believe there was someone who used to say a very I mean, it's just good fun, man. Just like, hey, Clemson, man, guess what? Y'all backdoored your way into the playoffs, possibly. Who knew? Every time a door closes, a back door opens. Don't ever forget that.
Sound like Watkins talking right now.
Oh man, Rowdy. Hey, though, we've had a fun show. Does anybody else have any closing thoughts? Hold on, let me get JB's comments in here real quick. Let's see. Yep, I got that one. Oh, JB, he responded back. He said Clemson, regarding his daughter going to Clemson, she'll only be there 4 years, JD. Touche. But while she's there, you'll be the biggest Gamecock Clemson fan ever, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I got a question on this one. I got a good one for you on this one. I have the my boss from last year, he is a true Florida Gator fan. He's a big Florida Gator fan. Now, he just went to his new Clemson game last week, to the Citadel game. Now he wants to talk about, oh, what about this place, this place? He's now going to turn into a Clemson fan, and he was hoping that South Carolina will actually lose to Clemson so he can brag a little bit. So, I mean, it is what it is now, you know? I mean, it's like one announcer said today, I think it was a Carolina, when you got a person that goes to Carolina, you're going to be a Carolina fan. If you got somebody going to Clemson, you're going to be a Clemson fan. And then you can just convert back to Carolina. I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, it's like my dad said. It's like my dad said one time to my sister a long time ago. She was thinking about going to South Carolina because they had a therapist, athletic therapy. My dad said, "I'm not paying for it. You can get a scholarship." And then she went to Gardner Webb, and he played full scholarship for that. And it doesn't matter. If my son if my son or my daughter goes to Carolina, I don't care. It's the school that they wanted to, and stuff like that. So that's what it is.
Right. Yeah, well, I've never been in that situation. Rowdy, how do you feel about that?
No. No, the hatred for me runs deep, man. Look, if they want to go to Clemson, that's fine. I support them for getting a good education, whatever. But I ain't pulling for that damn school. Excuse my language. But I mean, I would have rather voted Democratic than pulled for anything that had to do with Clemson. That's part of the rivalry, though. I mean, I don't understand how people can be a fan of. You hear people all the time, hey, I'm a Clemson fan, but when they play South Carolina, I kind of pull for Carolina. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. Well, just don't even pull for any of them then. Just move to Canada or something, because it makes no sense.
Go watch some hockey with Pennsman Sports. Go watch some hockey. So anyways, y'all, that's one thing I'll say too. I've never changed my fandom. My sister, she changed her fandom from Gamecock initially over to Clemson Tigers. And that was before, though, her daughter went there. Her daughter went there after she changed her fandom. So she can't claim that she did it because of her fandom. And I say that because, Michelle, you'll be listening here soon.
I can be a realist. I can be a realist and give Clemson props when they deserve their flowers for sure. But nah, I don't. They should lose every game and everything.
Mark says, my oldest daughter was considering going to Clemson. It's a great school, but I made it clear there wasn't a chance in HE double hockey sticks that I was wearing that orange. Hey, that's where I'm at.
It's gonna be garnet and black every time we go to a game. It's just how it is.
Orange. You won't.
I mean, I don't think I would be. I wouldn't be so disrespectful that I would wear all Carolina stuff, but I definitely wouldn't wear orange. You know what I'm saying?
I might would do
maybe a what would Jesus do bracelet.
Like a little bracelet, yeah.
Yeah, what would Jesus do bracelet? I wear an orange one of those, but that's it. Like maybe some orange socks under my pants that nobody can see, but that's about it.
All right. So hey y'all, we went way long on Southern Fried Sports game day reaction. Rowdy Rooster, thank you so much for being here. Brian, thank you so much for being here, gentlemen. That was a great conversation. I'm going to get y'all backstage, and I'm going to sign out of here before my wife comes and ends my day. So, gentlemen.
Put some gravy on it.
Put some gravy on it. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, belated. Hope y'all had a good one. Happy Rivalry Week, you taters and you Gamecock.
Mouth breathers.
Y'all be blessed. We'll see y'all soon, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we went way over on game day reaction today. But for me, I am the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports. Don't forget to follow myself, Rowdy Rooster. You can find him on Twitter at Joshua W0524. You can find Brian Pettit on Twitter at BPETTIT34. Let's go finish up watching these games. Let me get out of here before my wife cuts my throat. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. She would never do that. Y'all be blessed, not stressed. We'll see y'all soon. Much love. We're out.